we're getting ready to can some homemade salsa. Hey, we love salsa, so we're going to be making some to put in the pantry. Now we're going to dice up about 4 medium-sized onions. These are a sweet onion, and they're fresh from a garden too, as well as the tomatoes, thanks to good friends. Now we'll speed this up and get this onion all diced up, and we're going to break out a baggie and put it in it so we can put it in the refrigerator until we get ready for it a little later on here. And I like to squeeze the bag to make sure we get all the air out of it we can. Now we're going to dice up this bell pepper. So we're making a chunky salsa, so the bell pepper and onion isn't going to be finely diced. It's just going to be kind of diced up, make a good chunky salsa. And we'll speed up through this process a bit. And we use 1 bell pepper. Now it's time to prepare the jalapeno pepper. We have 7 jalapeno peppers here, and we're going to cut off the ends there, the stems, and then we'll cut them in half. Then we're going to rake out the seeds and then dice them up. If you want your salsa hotter, leave the seeds in. Now these will be a little bit finer than the onion and the bell pepper, as to make it go a little farther in here. 7 into this, I think I made 5 pints of salsa. So 7 went into that really good. It has just the right bite to it. And we're putting it in here with the bell pepper. And we'll put it in a baggie and store it in the refrigerator until we are ready for it. And when you're cutting up peppers, jalapeno and such, be sure to wear gloves while you do that. Now we have the fresh garden tomatoes and some store-bought cilantro. I went between a less than a half, more around of a 1/4 cup of cilantro. Cilantro can be overwhelming sometimes, so I went with a little less. And we put it in a small container until we're ready for it. And we will be doing water bath canning. Since it's hot, I thought I'd do some of this outside to keep from heating up the house so much. I blanched the tomatoes outside, but the burner on the end of that grill just doesn't really get hot enough. I believe one of them turkey propane deep fryers would work a lot better than the burner on the end of this grill, but it got the job done. Now we'll take them and put them over in the cold water bath. We got some ice water sitting over there for these tomatoes, and that will help us be able to get the skins off of them pretty easy. Oh yeah, these skins are coming off just fine. Okay, we got about 4 cloves of garlic we're going to dice up. Now these will be diced up pretty fine. And we'll start cutting up these tomatoes and getting them in the stock pot. And we'll get this garlic up in there with it too. Now, speeding forward. And now we add 1 cup of white vinegar. And we're going to add 1 small can of tomato paste. I think it's 5.5 ounces. Now we're going to start adding in the cilantro. Get all that in there. That was 1/4 cup. And then we're going to add the green bell pepper and the jalapeno peppers here. And the 4 medium onions. Now we're going to mix this around a bit before we set it on the fire, but we have one more small ingredient that we need to add to this, and that is 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. Okay, we're going to be cooking this over a medium-high heat for a bit until it starts to boil, and then we're going to try to bring it to a simmer here, and we're going to let it simmer for about 30 minutes or so. Just let it simmer long enough till you get the right thickness you want in your salsa. The longer it boils or simmers, the thicker it gets. So I figure I'm at the right consistency I wanted, and we're going to start ladling it into the jars. Now these are hot jars I pulled out of the canner and putting this hot liquid in. Now I did put in a 1/4 teaspoon of citric acid in each jar. Well, we'll finish ladling in the salsa into these jars, and then we'll get the lids on them. And I'm leaving a 1-inch headspace. And I got the rings and lids back there, not boiling them, just keeping them warm, hot. It helps seal them. Now we'll move some of this around and get it all evened out there. We'll wipe down the rims and start putting our lids on. I put a little vinegar on a paper towel when I wipe off the rims. It helps take any oils or anything off of it, and it helps the lid seal. If you got anything on there, if the rim is dirty, you're not going to get a very good seal, and you could get a bad jar. And when we put the ring on, we just snug them down finger tight. Now we bring the water to a boil and we process them for 20 minutes. Now we let them set in the canner for an extra 5 minutes, let them cool a little bit, and then I removed them and set them on the counter on a towel. And I left them undisturbed for 12 hours. Now look at that, that's going to be some good salsa. Hey, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, I hope you consider subscribing.